Welcome to the RPG Talk Show. My name is Daniel Ivey, and this is
John Welker, Vice President of RPG Research. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to researching role-playing games in all formats, all genres, and all players to see about the benefits that can be used for education, therapeutic,
recreation or leisure.
I was going to say entertainment or leisure.
Either.
Yeah. Also, we study the things that are detrimental about it. For example, we do know that for live action role playing, they do have a higher risk of physical injury.
Yep.
And tabletop games have a higher risk of the disadvantages of sedentary activities.
Same thing with ERPGs.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So eventually we're going to have a show about holidays in role-playing games. How to use a holiday, how to use it for plot hooks, how to make your holidays unique with traditions, because really nothing brings out the culture of your world than celebrating of the holidays and people traveling over there. One of the earliest Dungeons and Dragons games, modules for basic was you went to the King's Feast.
The King's Festival.
Yeah, and that was a holiday that people traveled to get to this town for. And then things happened from there.
Yeah. I've actually been in the game that I'm running with you. I have a calendar set up that keeps track of all the holidays in that world.
Yeah, and yours doesn't just cover one country's holidays. You cover the world's holidays.
Yep.
Including some holidays that most people don't celebrate anymore because most of the people are gone.
Yeah. But I've been trying to use some of that. And, some, not just holidays, but, in that calendar when I set it up, I put up personal days that my character would care about. That it would influence her mood.
We actually had a holiday called the Worm's Feast or something like that. It was the defeat of a worm god. That was actually from another module.
Nice.
So if you played in this 1 through level 20 campaign, you know what they're talking about when they're talking about this. Worm Fall, not Feast of Worms.
Worms Fall.
Yeah. So that was a holiday there, and what happens to you as you're trying to navigate the streets while the holiday is going on, and have completely other problems to worry about.
I'd say
kind of fun.
Every 30 feet, make a perception check to see if you've been picked.
But what I did want to talk about today is not just what we can do with holidays. We want to do a full main topic on that. But I want to talk about the gift-giving holidays and kind of a gift guide for players and dungeon masters, but without getting into specific items. I'm going to topic. I am going to recommend one specific item, and this is for my Jewish friends. There is a game by Hit Point Press.
Oh, yes.
If I Were a Lich Man. And the other one was Same Bat's Mitzvah.
Yeah. The puns are strong in those games.
Yes, and there was a third game. I think it referred to the Golem, but it might not have. It is get it for your Jewish friends.
Okay.
Or get it because, you're interested. You don't have to have a reason. So, with the fact in mind that you're not going to get whatever you say, what do you want for Christmas?
What do I want for Christmas? I am, as Hearth can attest, because he's been subjected to this quite a bit, I am incredibly difficult to shop for.
Yes.
And that's primarily because I always have a hard time answering this question. I don't necessarily know what I want for Christmas. I don't necessarily prioritize myself.
I think a new razor.
I shaved today. I shaved today.
All right.
That was dull of you.
Hey, we can't always be sharp.
Yeah. But in terms of
I think we're cutthroat about these puns. Puns.
puns.
Puns.
Let's see. I tend to fall into that category of the things that I want. I normally either take care for myself,
Right.
or are too expensive for me to feel comfortable having someone else get for me.
Okay.
Yeah, so like, what would I like? A new computer, but no, I don't want someone spending thousands of dollars on me. And yeah, it would take thousands of dollars for a computer for me.
Probably the most expensive thing on my list of things that I'm not going to get for Christmas. There's a Kickstarter. We've talked about it before, and it is the DC Comics RPG.
Oh yeah, you were telling me about that.
13 different titles, cost over $600 to get them, and it covers all of first edition, all of second edition. Is there a third edition?
I don't know.
I don't remember it. I'd have to look it up. But it is wonderful. I think we break it down into two different types of categories, or three if you want to be picky about the Venn diagram. Because you have on the left, you have the Dungeon Masters, you have on the right the players, and then in the middle where they overlap, there's the things that both of them want.
Yeah.
Now, Dungeon Masters, I think it's really easy just to say maps and minis. Preferably ones they don't already have.
Yeah. Either that or, if they need like a lot of them, they'd always use more skeletons.
Oh, yeah. A gift certificate for somebody to paint the minis for them.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Good. Gift certificate to a STL file.
If they're into printing their own stuff.
Yeah, or if they want to order something from Hero Forge, or there's another company that does custom STL files.
I think I came across one that was Epic.
Might be.
Yeah. I know this is more of a stocking stuffer, but more dice.
That's the one that goes right there in the middle.
Yeah, more
It's
dice.
great for both sides. Dice can go from anywhere from really cheap to completely unique. Like we have a dice set that has all the odd numbers.
Yeah.
And I have these little rubber dice that can not just the bouncy ones, but I got these other ones that aren't as bouncy, but I can generate 100 million numbers one third. So it's like percentile dice.
Yeah.
But then I got all the other numbers out here. So I have a die for 100,000s, a die for 90,000s, a die for 1 million,
Nice.
a 20 million. All these different.
So if someone said, roll me a D10,000, you could do it.
I can literally do it. I tell you, I could go downstairs right now into the community center and pull up the right dice to roll a D20,000.
Okay. I also know that, and this was either last Christmas or the Christmas before, my significant other got me a nice set of metal dice. And I'm peculiar about my aesthetics. This is one of the reasons that I am difficult to shop for, because, yeah, I like skulls. Just any old skull won't do for me.
Well, okay. How about Della Morte?
Day of the Dead?
Yes. Dios Della Morte.
Yeah. So I appreciate the holiday. I feel like if I started using it, it would be cultural appropriation because I'm not a part of the culture.
See, I use them, and I actually get sugar skulls, and I'm not sure I'm part of the culture because it's Mexican, not Cuban.
Yeah, and I'm not Hispanic at all. Mind you, I have a friend who absolutely loves it, and anytime we see Day of the Dead stuff, we're sending her pictures.
Okay.
Primarily to try and coax her up here, but
But you're not. If I was going to give you artwork, Day of the Dead style, unless it was a specific mini, isn't something you would be.
it fall into the like, I appreciate it, it's not me.
Right.
Yeah. And which is weird because the necromancer that I'm playing does use some of that aesthetic, but it's not me.
It's not you, but is it your necromancer?
It's my necromancer, yeah.
Yeah.
She's absolutely very much like, eventually she's going to get a porcelain mask
Yeah.
that looks like her face, just white, because she has to hide the fact that she used to be drow, but she's also going to do Day of the Dead-esque painting on it.
So she's passing. Oh my.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the one of the things I like, besides map minis, terrains, and that kind of stuff. Some people don't think about it, but there are available out there many options for storage and carrying.
Yeah.
There are things where you can put your dice, pencils, and minis in. You have character folders, specifically the ones that have the spell card slots in there. But you don't have to buy those. You can buy some card sleeves and some regular paper sleeves and put it in a binder, and that will work just as good as the fancy one with the artwork on the cover. And if you get the white binder, you can put your own darn artwork in it.
So this also, and I don't want to make this about me.
Yeah.
Okay, but you asked me the dreaded question, what would I like for Christmas? So this is one of the other issues that I have is when I think of things like, oh, that would be nice, it's not because, oh, I would like it, it's, I'd like to make this.
Yeah.
And this is something that I feel would be really, really nice for the Dungeon Master. Okay?
You saw in my group, I made a journal. The ship's journal that's holding all the player characters' stuff in it, so they got one place to put it away.
So I was thinking of like a half ledger.
Yeah.
So basically, something where you can sit and wheel it around because it's on wheels, and you could put a book there to hold the page open because it's got one of those book stands. But underneath, you can have like, okay, these are the books I'm probably going to reference.
So Dogmite Games, which no longer exists, unfortunately, we were one of the last donations they ever gave out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is what Dogmite Games gave us.
Yeah.
It's got all kinds of really cool features. They also had some furniture pieces, and one of them is what you just described.
Oh, jeez. So what you're saying is that my idea will not be profitable.
I'm not saying it won't be profitable. I'm saying that they went out of business before it was profitable.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about like if I ever attempted to make it, it'd be me going onto IKEA and bashing something together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a joke about IKEA. The guy comes in for an interview and he says, build a chair and sit down.
Oh no. Have a seat.
Yeah.
And it's like, you got to construct it. Yeah, I'm familiar with the joke.
Oh, and IKEA is a great place for dungeon masters because it's already a maze.
Yes, it is. And at the end, you get Swedish meatballs.
Yeah.
Which is a treasure.
Yeah. There's also the joke about the IKEA maze where the one item you need is at the end of the maze. So you have to walk through the entire store until you get to the exit. And then you're like, oh, I forgot the item I actually came for.
See, this is the IKEA that I'm used to, where they'd send you upstairs first. And you'd walk all of the upstairs. And yeah, whatever you need is at the end because you can't take anything upstairs. It's all displays.
Right.
You write on the number, and at the bottom, you're then into the warehouse. You have to walk the entire store before you can get anything you want.
I wouldn't say that's tricky, but it is.
It is, yeah. Yeah. Mind you, I still like IKEA.
What other kind of nice, like for players, I want to give them folders. I want to give them spell cards if they don't already have them. And I find it's when you're looking at giving gifts to players, you either get something that very generic, like a player's handbook if for some reason they don't have one, or anything else. And of course, I went to the comic book store and asked to see what was in his reserve box.
Yeah, he did.
My wife did that. I have a graphic novel that I'm going to be getting for Christmas. Supposedly.
Allegedly. Yeah.
So,
It's me. Yeah, Hearth is a dice goblin.
I think
See, if I can get Hearth some dice that, look more like flames than anything, then I think he would very much appreciate that. Because he's a pyromaniac.
Yeah. So, I mean, what else would you put in a Hearth? The fire.
Unless I can find dice that look like coal.
With
embers in it.
I think I would love to see a dice set based on Howl's Moving Castle.
He does like that little ember creature.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Calcifer.
Yes. Either that or because he's a huge vampire fan, anything that looks like it's blood-coated.
So I'm looking at the players, and my first thing I think of is, what can I do to enhance their character?
Actually, I just had a thought.
What's that?
For your DM, and mind you, this is not me suggesting anything for the game that I'm in, okay?
Because I'm the DM.
Exactly. Okay. It's not nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Say no more. A consumable magic item.
I've done that. I traditionally give, if you're playing with me on your birthday week, and I count the week from Sunday to Saturday. So if it's the next Sunday again, you're out of your week. You get a healing potion.
Okay.
A greater healing potion. So you get a good healing potion for your birthday every once a year. And it costs nothing.
Okay.
People just appreciate getting it, or a certificate that I could write out for this object.
See, can I have just I don't want the healing. I don't want the healing potion. I just want a you get out of death free card.
At best I can give you is a Kielman's ointment.
Oh, jeez, that's not even. That won't even get me if I'm like dead.
Nah. Besides, you are dead.
No, I'm not dead.
You're not alive.
I'm reborn.
Yeah, you're unliving.
Yes. Yeah.
He's not undead, he's unliving. One of the sneaky things to get for your dungeon master is modules that they have to run.
This is a module that I'd like you to run. Why does it just say you enter the room and get all these magic items?
Yeah. Oh, that's the Monty Hall. That's an old module.
Oh, jeez.
There is literally a Monty Hall module. That's the title of it. I think it might be called the Dungeon of Monty Hall or something like that. But it's an old 80s Iron Crown Enterprises module.
Yeah, if I'm ever running that for you, be suspicious because no, you're not leaving with all of that stuff.
One of the monsters in the Monty Hall dungeon is an old lady with a broom. She has, like, if we're using 5th edition terms, she has a 10-foot movement and does 1 point of damage when she hits you with the broom. She will always hit you. It doesn't matter what your armor class is. She doesn't roll to hit. She just does damage. And she does 1 point every time she hits you. And if you die from her, it's so embarrassing you don't go to the afterworld.
See, I'd make a couple of changes.
Oh, come on. If you die to something that has a movement rate of 10 and can only do 1 hit point per hit, that's on you.
One, it's not broom. Keeping the speed. I like the speed. It is a slipper.
Okay. A Conchalla?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She 30-foot range, but she only attacks if she has line of sight on you, and every other turn. Because
It's a boomerang.
It's a boomerang slipper. Yeah. La Chocla, yeah.
Yeah, I remember those. Druid magical item that looks like a mushroom. If my wife was playing a druid, that she would love that. She likes gnomes and mushrooms and dragonflies and things like that.
Very fey.
Oh, yeah. I mean...
Has she played Wild Beyond the Witchlight yet?
No. She hasn't played very many 5th edition. In fact, primarily all she's played is Phandelver and Below.
Okay.
And she's playing one of her first characters. Her first 2 primary characters was a pocket dragon, which is the nickname that she uses when she's on the stream.
Yeah.
And it's a pseudo dragon, but instead of the poison that the normal pseudo dragon has, it's been replaced with the Euphoria breath in stinger form. So basically, she gets you stoned. And
Oh, jeez, that's... For me, that makes it a little bit more insidious.
she was
She's drugging you.
yeah, and she's a rogue. So when we were playing what the most famous scary dungeon, Gary Gygax's Tomb of Horrors. Well, she was playing in Tomb of Horrors, and she played her character like a cat kind of thing. She likes shiny things, preferred huckleberries to money, and she was. We were fighting the final boss, and one of the things for the final boss is if you do things your character class would not do, it's extra effective. So if you hit the monster with, I'm trying not to give out spoilers, even though it's a 45-year-old module, or even 50 years.
Valuable objects, let's say that.
Yeah. You throw valuable objects that will be destroyed upon impact. It does a lot of damage. Because of the way she was playing this pseudo dragon, that's exactly what she started doing.
Nice.
Because her character didn't care about the material value of the gems. But since she was technically a rogue character and was throwing the gemstones, she was being very effective against the final monster. The other character was actually my son. And that before my son was born, she wrote a character that describes him. It was a half giant, later changed into Goliath.
Yeah. I think that's a good conversion.
Yeah. And barbarian. And this was not played like the standard dumb barbarian. It's not Gru the Wanderer. Conan is too smart for...
Conan isn't very intelligent.
Yeah, he's too intelligent to be played as a dumb barbarian. The Barbarian brothers work just fine. Gru works just fine. But she didn't want to play the dumb barbarian, even though he had a low intelligence. She dumped her intelligence in order to get her strength up really high. She played it as if he was a 7-year-old trapped in an adult's body.
Yeah.
So, before we even knew what the word was, she created an autistic half giant that, in a lot of the ways, in personality and size, is my son Patrick.
Okay.
Well before he was born, Carrie Lynn role played him.
Are you sure you haven't married a diviner?
I do not acknowledge or deny that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can definitely say she's an apothecary.
Okay. I just feel like, considering your predilection for Call of Cthulhu,
Yeah.
that may be problematic for you. Be suspicious if she ever serves up calamari.
We've already done that.
It's been good knowing you. Okay.
We're not going fishing, if that's what you mean.
Any other ideas for either GMs or players or the like?
Well, accessories are always a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to get on a fancy screen, but a useful one's nice.
Yeah.
I had somebody actually make me a. I should find it sometime and bring it down here. It is a Dungeon Master screen. They took a regular Dungeon Master screen.
Mm-hmm.
And put more rules on it. So it had flip pages.
Nice.
For rules. So it was probably the most comprehensive DM screen I ever had.
Mm-hmm.
What else? So in the accessories, you got the maps and minis, of course, and what lots of times get forgotten in a lot of games is dungeon dressing.
Yeah.
The pile of gold, the chairs, the furniture. And I find that people play different between Mind's Eye Theater and a deep and then miniatures on a simple map to miniatures on a super detailed map.
Yeah.
I like to tell people, if you see it on the map, it's there. Also, people change the way they do when you put 3D features in there. And by what I mean by change their play style between a 2D map with it's super detailed and a 3D map, is that suddenly elevation becomes important.
Yeah.
I jump on the table. There's a picture of the table. Nobody thinks about jumping on it. I put a 3D table there. People suddenly want to jump on the table.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of the benefits that I think they really, really utilized in Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh, yeah. Baldur's Gate 3.
Terrain mattered so much in that game.
And it was possible because it was a computer game and it made it easy. Flight is hard in a tabletop game. And so is underwater.
Yeah.
And if you're doing flight and underwater simultaneously, these different levels, because when you start playing on a 3D terrain that includes aerial, it's a whole new different game.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk a little about that when we come back, about looking at things from a different point of view with the type of add-ons into a game. So flight risers.
Yeah.
Are things that, there's two kinds of flight risers. One is they've got these ones that are about this big and they have a little marker to tell you how high you are. You're actually just staying here, but you got the little marker going up and down. I don't like those. I mean, they're better than nothing, but I like ones that were like, okay, I got a 5-foot riser here. I use colored foam dice that are exactly 1 inch by 1 inch.
Nice.
And I stack them. So if you're 5 feet off the air, 1 die, 30 feet off.
I think that's a little bit better and easier to read. And before we take our 15-minute break, I thought of a really, really good gift, especially for your forever GMs. Run a game for them.
Oh yeah, that is give them a break.
Yeah.
I was going to say seat cushion, but
let them play. Even if it's a one shot, I think they'd appreciate it. And maybe it gives someone some valuable experience what it means to be a GM.
Yeah. Helping somebody else learn to be a GM is a good thing. That makes a great gift.
Yeah.
And this is just rolling into it. I think it's naturally a progression of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
A great gift for RPG research would be your donations, your comments,
Yes.
etc. We need physical gifts almost more than money right now. We did have a wish list on Amazon. I'm not sure if we still have that wish list, but I do know.
We have to double check.
Yeah. The thing that they had for donating to people from Amazon, that's gone away.
Yeah.
The Smile program, that's a big shame. But, we always going to need money, even though we're not going to have the community center anymore. We need to spend money on advertising. We need to spend money on transportation to go to conventions and things like that.
Yeah. So, in 15 minutes, we'll be back. And then we will be talking about not just hybrid games, but bringing hybrid concepts into your game.
Sure you don't have 15 minutes worth of talk till 6:45?
Or, I don't know why Hearth was hovering over. Okay, yeah, we've got 15 minutes. Okay.
Are you in a hurry to go on a break? Do you have an emergency situation I should know about?
I saw her hovering over the time and thought, oh, I ran up to 15 minutes. Okay, so that's what we're going to be talking about after the break, but we're not there yet at the break.
Yeah, I was just saying the conversation transitions well into the concept of donating to your local GMs. Paid GMs are a great thing, but if you want to donate to an organization, RPG Research is a 501c3 nonprofit organization.
You can write us off on your taxes.
Yep. Best gift you can give us would be a new building, but we really don't expect that to happen.
I don't want a new building right now.
I don't either. I was just thinking about that today.
I as much potential as this place could offer, I don't think we're in a place where we could utilize that. I think it'd be another albatross around our neck.
I want to focus to get us back to where we were before we bought the building.
Yeah.
And actually spending more time on research. We've had one research project that's been going the whole time.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. But the work that had to be done on the side to keep this place open for our 3-year lease meant that we weren't doing much else other than trying to keep the building open, and not even, we had the last half year, we didn't even have community center open.
Yeah. I feel at this point, I think, especially with where we are located and what I feel like we can expect from this physical community, although I like the idea of us having a community center, I think it's just like, okay, if we're going to have another physical space, it just needs to be like a headquarters, and we do everything out of the headquarters.
Well, we've already got that.
Yeah.
We've got our office on Monroe, and oh, look, I can use all my old cards that don't have the correct address on them again.
Yeah.
What is old is new again. There is a role-playing game called that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's called Wine, and what is old is new again, and it the fantasy stuff is the old, and the sci-fi stuff is the new. and of course they can combine well with each other.
Okay. I know that my significant other has been very interested in a kind of merging tech and fantasy, but not necessarily like Star Trek, or not necessarily like Star Wars. So I've been trying to figure out exactly what she means that way, but it's sometimes a weird concept.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Because I mean, there's the old, the very old concept that any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic.
Which is what the cinematic universe for Marvel, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or whatever they call it, that's the stance they take.
At least the Asgardians do. Yeah.
Well, and the wizards are manipulating physics.
Yeah.
And it's all supposed to be scientifically plausible.
Except they've recently brought in some concepts and characters that I think are going to really, really test that.
Well, that's when we get into the Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
Scarlet Witch is more... Wait, is this a weird way to say it, but real magic? I mean,
More
it's
traditional magic.
more traditional magic and not just a manipulation of physics beyond the understanding of the average person.
Right. So...
Which is what Doctor Strange is doing.
Yeah, Doctor Strange is more... I mean, okay, I guess Doctor Strange would be more wizard, and, Wanda and Agatha would be more sorcerer?
Maybe. I would say actually yes, because...
Wait, Agatha's a warlock. And we know who her patron is.
True.
Yeah.
Agatha's a warlock. The rest of the witches were...
Feels like a fever dream? What makes it feel like a fever dream? I'm just curious.
Hey, Ronald Duck.
Ronald... Unless it's German. Ronald Duck.
De Vuck. It's Ronald De Vuck. Ronald De Vuck. No. Anyway, so...
What makes it feel like a fever dream?
Well, we'll just keep talking until he respond, or she or they respond to that. But
oh, just the vibes. Yeah, we do tend to be like all over the place at times. But yeah, Agatha's a warlock.
Agatha's a warlock, and the pagan is a...
You mean Wiccan?
Wiccan. Yeah, I keep calling him pagan.
His name is Wiccan.
His name is Wiccan, and Wiccan
Spoilers
is...
for Agatha all along.
Well, no, because if you watch Agatha all along, you won't get the idea that his name is Wiccan.
Uh-huh, I know.
So that's a spoiler for down the line.
I know.
Anyways, Wiccan is who brings in traditional magic back to the sorcerers and warlocks.
That is one way to look at it. Another is, and this is something that I've been talking to Hearth about, is that that character is a reality warper in Marvel. And reality warpers are, how should I put it? A bit problematic in their power. And Scarlet Witch is a reality warper as well, beyond the fact that she's a sorcerer.
I mean,
she can do magic.
I know this is definitely getting off track now, but...
I'm gonna see how I can wrap this back to role-playing.
We have been. We're talking about character classes.
Yes.
And who they represent. I'm seeing that Franklin...
oh, yeah.
Is a artificer, but also a demigod.
Franklin. No, I'm not giving Franklin the artificer.
Okay.
No.
By the way, if you don't know who we're talking about, Franklin
Richards is the son of Reed Richards.
Yeah, Mr.
And
Fantastic.
Susan Storm, or Susan Fantastic as well.
Yeah. Well, it'd be Susan Richards.
Susan Richards, yes.
Because, if you marry Spider-Man, you don't become Mrs. Spider-Man. You become Mrs. Parker.
Yeah. Ooh. Sorcerer.
I mean, Franklin is supposed to be the most powerful...
Yeah. For me, he's either a sorcerer or a cleric. He gives me cleric vibes, but he's got sorcerer powers. So maybe... celestial sorcerer?
Or an arcane cleric. Yeah, probably celestial sorcerer.
I heard the word. I think. We will try. We will try. Sometimes we're just testing, like, okay, can you keep up with our nonsense today?
So the topic we started with is holidays and gift giving for DMs and players. And we wanted to talk about random stuff, and then we got into magic.
And then we got into the Marvel universe, and I'm thinking more celestial sorcerer than cleric, because I don't see him worshiping anyone.
Yeah. I think people worship him.
Yeah. In terms of artificers in the Marvel universe, Reed Richards.
Yeah.
In fact, I'd probably put it on his daughter as well.
Iron Man, of course, would be an artificer, but with less magical results.
Yeah, Valerie Richards, which is the daughter of Mr. Fantastic. I would put her as a artificer, and I'd put Dr. Doom as an artificer wizard hybrid.
Well, he is.
Yeah, he is.
Because he is literally the combination of science and magic. There is a Marvel role-playing game.
I remember.
Where you can play all these different characters. Mr. Fantastic of the Fantastic Four, also known as Reed Richards.
Yes.
Sue Storm became Sue Richards. And they had Valerie and Franklin.
And then there's also Ben Grimm and Johnny Storm.
Which
is one of the reasons why they stopped they've been trying to move away from Fantastic Four, and they've been calling it the Fantastic Foundation, keeping the FF. Yeah, because there's more than 4 of them now.
And of course, in the movie, one of the movies where one of the Storms must have been adopted.
We're not going to talk about those movies. There haven't been any decent, Fantastic Four movies ever.
Well, let's hope the new one is. Now, we are actually getting closer to the final point here. So let me tell you what we're going to do for the rest of this thing. Why we keep Waddle Duck confused and possibly learning. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about the hybridization of role-playing games. And we talked about before combining one type of game, a board game, with other games. And we're going to talk about some of this in practice.
Yeah.
That aren't just hybrid games, but combining 2 games together for hybridization.
Yeah, and I've written some notes on why you may even want to do that. I actually have one instance where I kind of wish I could have gone hybrid, but I didn't know of a game to hybridize it with. And although we got through it, I think it could have gotten better if I had a proper game to go with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? Oh, the old Dungeon Master's Guide. Remind me to talk about the old Dungeon Master's Guide and playing games.
Okay, let me write that down.
So we're going to be back in 15 minutes, and then we'll talk about the hybridizations or chimera games. And then
don't look into the reference that I made for that title. It's too soon.
Yeah.
It's too soon.
If you live to be 100, it's too soon.
If you live to 1,000, it's still too soon.
And so, what was I going to say? After that part, we will come back with our third section, and we will do our traps and riddles.
And then we've got an unboxing after that.
And we got an unboxing, and then we will go home and be confused at home. Edward? Why did you have to bring up Edward? Hearth, my heart. I need a hearthstone.
Well, in the 15-minute break, I'm gonna call home to Nina. He's gonna hurt me. So yeah,
I take this very personally. This fictional world and what happened.
I am a sick individual.
And that's on a good day.
On a good day, yes.
All right. See you guys in 15 minutes.
See you in 15. Welcome back to the RPG Talk Show. My name is Daniel Ivey, and this is
John Wilker, Vice President of RPG Research. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and today we are discussing about the hybridization of role-playing games. Not in the same way that where we had a...
We're not talking about hybrid games. We're talking about bringing in, rounding out games with, other games.
Yeah, you got some peanut butter in my chocolate.
Yeah, and it tastes so much better.
Yeah, where I'm combining two completely different games together. Now, there are some role-playing games that are kind of designed for that. You're supposed to take your characters from any campaign, from any role-playing game in the world, and play Darkest Dungeon.
Yeah.
And they have a way to convert whatever character you're playing. That's one way to do it. But what about if you want to represent something in the game that your game doesn't handle as well?
Yeah.
For example, using electronic character sheets in a tabletop game is not a hybridization. It's just using a tool.
Yeah.
It's no different than using a paper character sheet, other than the fact that it can be automated when you're using like D&D Beyond.
Yeah. The two things that I was thinking of are actually specifically from Dungeons and Dragons. Is one, D&D has two things that historically it has had issues with. One, overland travel.
Yes, and the very first Dungeons and Dragons, you suggested using a hybridization.
Yeah.
To clarify, that is the hybrid. Using a hybridization of taking a board game to fill in that overland travel.
Yeah. Or basically, they had rules for you being in the city and rules for you being in the dungeon, and it said, in between, go play this other game.
Yeah. Go play
I think
Adventure.
Wilderness Survival, I think.
And Wilderness Survival
Yeah.
is the name of the game. I had a copy of that. I don't know if I still do. I hope I find it, or great Christmas gift for RPG Research.
Yeah. So the other thing is actually something that you have right behind you. Dungeons and Dragons has an issue with mass combat, and they put out rules before, but they have basically said, if you want mass combat.
Earlier attempts at mass combat was that they would introduce a variant of board games.
Yeah.
Not board games, war games.
Yeah.
So this one here, which it's already open, so you should be able to open it up if you want. This is the D&D 5th edition module, Dragonlance.
Warriors of Kryn and Shadow of the Dragon Queen.
Now, Shadow of the Dragon Queen is the module.
Yeah.
The Warriors of Kryn is the board game. And there's actually information in there combining the two into your story. Not just, let's do a great battle. There's methods to make it as a smooth part of the story.
Yeah.
Other things that they used to do.
So yeah, you've got Dragonlance, the campaign, and this is Warriors of Kryn. This is for mass combat. Yeah. So for mass combat, they're saying go play this other game.
And tie it directly into the story.
Yeah.
So Warriors of Kryn is in the same world. It's in the same setting. You're using your same characters. And now you're doing the mass combat and exploration you aren't doing on your squad level.
Yeah.
Which is what Dungeons and Dragons is.
It works better with squad combat.
One of the things in the original version of Dungeons and Dragons, OD&D, was that we combined to play OD&D, you needed to have chainmail.
Yeah.
And you needed to have Wilderness Survival. You had to have 3 different games to properly play the original Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. So, I think that is a better example of what we mean by hybridization. We're not necessarily talking about tools that you're using to play the one game. We're talking about, taking a completely different game at times and injecting that into the game.
Right. Now, another example of on the war game size, and I don't have copies of. Actually, is any of the Star Wars games out on the wall? They've been packed. I think they've been packed.
I feel like if they haven't been packed, before I could find it, the show would be over.
Right.
Yeah.
So, the Star Wars role-playing game, which is initially by Fantasy Fight Games, 2012 to 2020. Before that, there were other ones. There was a Die 6 version. There was the Wizards of the Coast had the Star Wars Die 20.
I remember that.
There was a Die 6 version before that. But, and now Edge Studio owns the Fantasy Flight Games version after parent company Asmodee moved the Star Wars role-playing game license. And one of the ways to do the hybridization is instead of just playing the Star Wars Space Combat Mind's Eye Theater, you can pull in the X-Wing Miniatures game or the Star Wars Armada game, which are both Fantasy Flight products.
So they overlap very well.
Yes.
You can jump from one game to another game to another game and kind of have this 3-game campaign.
Well, Armada and X-Wing, I would choose one or the other.
Okay.
You would not want to do Armada and X-Wing because they're not using the exact same rule system.
Ah, okay. I have no experience with them.
But you may want to use the miniatures from both because I believe they're in similar scales.
Okay.
Though there are some, like in the Star Trek Borg one, where the Borg ship is just so huge it takes up the rest of the table.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But it's the same concept for mass combat or in just ship to ship combat.
Yeah.
It is a little better handled by the X-Wing miniature game than it is an X-Wing miniatures game before Star Wars Armada.
Question. Do you, and speaking of like Dungeons & Dragons, has already acknowledged that with the creation of Warriors of Krynn, that there are some aspects of the game that they have issues with implementing into their system. Do you feel like they should have just made a different system to deal with spell jamming?
No.
No? Okay.
No. The best they could have done is gave us an additional system. Not a different system for spell jamming. I mean, the role-playing game and all that kind of stuff. But it would have been really great if they gave us a actual miniatures rules that worked. Second edition miniature rules worked. The scale is a little awkward.
Yeah.
Because you know what the scale of your map is for space combat?
I don't know.
Nobody knows.
Oh, jeez.
You kind of just tell me that this is this far and that far.
See, I feel like they've kind of been skirting around this between Spelljammer and Descent into Avernus, where I feel like they should just codify proper vehicle rules.
They did a better job with their Sinister Secret of Saltmarsh with their pirate rules. So what somebody else did for, and I, use these rules from my Spelljammer game, is they took the rules from Sinister Secret of Saltmarsh and blended it with the Spelljammer rules to come up with a better thing. If you'd had no Sinister Secret of Saltmarsh background knowledge, and you want to play a ship-to-ship combat in Spelljammer, rules as it's written, you're going to hate it. It's just not fun.
Yeah.
It's designed that the writers want you to get ship-to-ship crash and do boarding actions. The fighting in the sky and doing maneuverings, it's not good. There's no
Yeah.
real facing. There's no targeting certain parts. There's no tactics.
There's no ship-to-ship combat.
No, there is ship-to-ship combat. It's just lame.
Okay.
So yes, I would definitely have said they should have given us a separate system that could be used for either spelljamming or ship-to-ship combat for Sinister Secret of Saltmarsh type thing as a separate, almost as a separate game.
Well, I mean, that's also why I included, because they have the Infernal Machines in Descent into Avernus.
Yes.
Yeah, so proper vehicle rules.
They never really got that good about that. And hopefully in 5.24 that they will give us some better combat things or give us a separate game that will allow us to do that. I mean, we're dealing with some spell jamming in Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
But
you're on the ship, you're not controlling the ship.
Well, spoiler alert, at one point you get to uncontrol it?
You get to attack a ship.
Yeah.
But
you don't have ship-to-ship combat.
No.
You don't even have ship-to-dragon combat. That's all background stuff that's happening around you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, basically, and the couple of times where you're not on the ship and the ship is still engaging with you, it's best to just avoid. Yeah.
Matter of opinion. The ship's crashed. There's stuff to find there and do.
But in terms of other hybridization, because I don't want to limit this to Dungeons and Dragons, one of the games that
Star Wars.
Yeah. One of the games that we tend to run when we had community games, especially for younger kids, was No Thank You Evil.
Yes.
And there is a point in the adventure, one of the adventures that we run, Dragonsnot Falls, where there is kind of like this code game that is presented. And, oh, there you are. He's grabbing No Thank You Evil. And what was that?
It's a broken mug that fell down and broke more.
We'll deal with that later.
Okay.
And one of the things that I think it was your idea to do this, and this is No Thank You Evil, is we added the Simon game to that.
Right. Instead of trying to roll dice to memorize the pattern,
we start up Simon and we hand it to you.
Yeah.
And you gotta beat Simon.
So.
Yeah, there it is. There's, Mr. Oddswallow.
Mr. Oddswallow here, which you have to summon using this device following the code play. We got an actual Simon Says game.
Yeah.
And we just set it for a number of rounds that you have to play.
Yeah.
And we set it for what? 4?
Yeah, I think we set it for 4 rounds. It's a little bit more challenging than what they're asking for. But I also feel like, being able to hand that off to kids, like, you get to play this now to continue the story is a bit more engaging.
Right. And it's not, 4 code letters, beep, 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 and you have to repeat those 4.
Someone could just memorize it and...
well, you can't memorize it because it gives you 1, and then you press that 1. It gives you 2, you press 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But that's for 5-year-old and up. That's pretty reasonable.
Yeah,
to request a 5-year-old to do that. The other things we did for that is we put on bee wings and we learned to do the bee dance.
That's adding some live action into that.
Yeah. We also, for some people, we had done, when we had enough room, we had people walk a wooden plank thing.
Oh, I hadn't seen that.
Yeah, that was for the bridge.
Yeah, I kind of figured. I've run Dragonsnot Falls enough to know where that would have been.
Yeah, so that was one. One of the other places that hybridizations come in handy into roleplay. So we've done 3 we had the original Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
we talked about 5th edition.
Mass combat and wilderness survival.
Yeah.
We've added Star Wars.
And Star Wars.
And No Thank You Evil.
And No Thank You Evil. But games within games.
Yeah.
Now, in the 1st edition Dungeons and Dragons, DMG, there's a section on gambling.
Yeah.
And there are dice games to simulate other games.
Yeah.
Now, some of them will be actual dice games where you're playing craps. You just roll 2 dice 6. But there are other games that were like card games or other stuff that you would roll combinations of dice to come up in fake poker or whatever.
I just had a thought, and I think this is really because there's the dilemma of you start in a tavern, and I'm not saying don't start in a tavern, but a way to introduce your character is everyone's at the table. You guys meet at a game of poker, play poker as your characters.
But better is to play if you've got you can play poker as your characters. But play 3 Dragon Ante because it's in world game.
Right.
That brings in that kind of storytelling element to it. Also, there's
also Dragon Chess, but that's more one-on-one, which is kind of like 3-dimensional chess designed by Gary Gygax.
Yeah, something like that. You can, if you're playing Star Trek RPG, you can bring in 3-dimensional chess.
Yeah.
Or there's a thing they call Vulcan chess, which is these little rods, and they're in a jumbled mess, and you have to move these magnetic rods around each of you guys until it forms a odd shape thing. A geometric 3D cubic crystalline type shape. Now, I don't know if that was a competitive or a solitary game, but I did see that. So introducing actual games to be played in your thing. If you're playing Firefly, the RPG, then you can bring in standard poker, or you can bring in some Chinese games.
Like Go?
That's Japanese.
Shogi?
Shogi.
Okay.
Actually, Shogi's chess.
Yeah, I know Shogi's chess.
But it's still Japanese chess. So you've done 2 Japanese games.
I'm sorry, I watched too much anime.
Don't worry about it. Somebody in the audience will remember. Well, we'll think of some Chinese games.
Yeah.
But the reason
I'm not going to say Chinese checkers because I know that's not Chinese either.
Oh, no, not even close. It's just a bad name for it.
I don't know because I was taught by Chinese checkers by my grandmother who's half Chinese.
That doesn't make it Chinese.
I know.
If your Chinese grandmother fed you egg foo young, that still doesn't make it Chinese.
I'm just saying the wording isn't that bad.
Yeah. You put a link in here for puzzle boxes.
Yes. So another thing, and I've seen this done in multiple different ways before, where let's say, and I think this works with the more difficult puzzle boxes, where your character, as a GM, you introduce there's this one, capsule, and in this capsule is a very important, plot element. But until they can open the box, they won't have access to it, and they actually have a puzzle box that they have to figure out.
I don't know. Have you ever seen Monster Box?
No, I haven't.
My Monster Box.
No.
Okay, so I had this lunch box, and the teeth are the locks.
Okay.
So you have to pick his teeth to open him.
Nice.
And the horns is the handle for this lunchbox. And so you pop the teeth up a little bit so that, that's the latch. And you open it up. and there's a little button and voice thing in there. So when you open it up, it screams.
Uh-huh.
So I brought that to a game. And I said, this is the chest you find. Open it. People look at it, examine it, try to figure out how to open it. And they go, oh, pick. Got it. Save versus fear. Or save versus whatever I decided that meant, because it's trap. I had another one where it was a stone box. And when you pull the lid over to the side, a snake thing comes up. Save versus poison.
Of course, you'd be like, oh, here's a puzzle box, you couldn't figure it out. And no, it's just a trap, you die.
It doesn't necessarily.
No wonder you have a reputation. But the only suggestion to make with the puzzle boxes is you're only allowed to attempt to open it at the game.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's supposed to be a part of when you add a puzzle box. It's supposed to be an in-character moment.
Yeah.
And you should know, as the dungeon master, how to solve it.
Absolutely. Well, you should, because you're not going to, oh, here's a puzzle box. No, you open the puzzle box, set it up, put the actual, like, proper, thing that they're supposed to find in there.
Right.
So that there's something to find in it.
And just as importantly, we have to remember that sometimes the player is smarter or dumber than the character.
Yeah.
And it's not fair to hand the genius rogue a puzzle box that the rogue could have rolled his way through. So you may say, give us a fair amount of time to figure it out. And if they ask for a clue, say roll for it.
Yeah.
And if you succeed on your dexterity
give
check,
them hints on how to open it.
right?
Yeah.
So you make there. You don't just hand it to the guy and say, "I know your character's a genius, but let's see how smart you are." That's not fair.
Yeah, that's kind of like the big difference between like, actually perform the charisma check.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very, very similar, which sometimes it can be very, very theatrical to do that, but it isn't always conducive to every player. Not everyone is a thespian.
I will insist on you communicating what your intent is, what you want to happen. I want to flirt with this person and make them follow me down the alley. If you can't tell me how you flirt, you have to at least tell me that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
And then we can get away with a roll for that. But on the other hand, if you can role play it, I may dispense with the roll entirely, depending on how good or bad you did.
Yeah.
If you say, I want to flirt with it and I want to act it out, fine. And then you say, I think your throat looks better under the heel of my boot. You're going to you probably have to roll for that, because I'm not sure whether or not the person you're talking to is good with that idea.
See, that's either intimidation or persuasion, depending on the predilections of the person hearing it.
Right. But if you go up to and say you want to flirt and say, you got a face like a backwards walking hog, I might just say,
No. Although I have had the pleasure of being able to, as a character, bluff a GM. Not bluff the NPC, bluff the actual GM.
Right, where the GM thought, yeah.
Because he thought I was going to betray the party, did not. Extracted as much information as I could. Like, yeah. Now I'm going to betray you and stay loyal to my friends.
The other thing that can be incorporated, I haven't had much experience in doing it, but escape rooms.
See,
Yeah.
I don't know how it incorporated an escape room into a... Maybe if it was a LARP.
Okay, so yes, you can do a LARP into an escape room. That's easy. That's not anything. There are home escape room kits.
Oh, okay, yeah.
where they just have puzzles and things like that. It's tabletop escape room.
Okay.
But the difference is, instead of the regular dungeon where I just described the trap, like we will do in the upcoming Challenge and Champions, you will have physical things to interact with, locks to pick. We have one. We have a home escape room somewhere in our...
Don't tell me that that's a part of the escape room, finding the escape room.
No.
Okay. Okay. Good.
But there is an escape room that you can... there are escape rooms and puzzles that you can include in your games. The hardest part, though, is making sure it fits your story.
Yeah.
You may have some of the escape rooms have a story they want to tell, and you need to actually rearrange the story or make sure it's close enough to your own story.
Yeah.
Some of them don't have any story associated with them at all. They're just a series of puzzles you have to figure out in order.
Puzzles and vibes.
Yeah.
I think those would be probably easier to incorporate into a overarching story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I did want to mention though that there was an instance where I was running a game, and hindsight is 2020. I'm looking back, and I wish I was able to find a game that I could have inserted into this to kind of delay, well, not necessarily delay, but incorporate it into the game that I was running.
Right. For a little bit extra immersion.
Yeah. So I was running Tyrion of Dragons.
Okay.
And there was an instance where...
Not related to Dragonlance at all.
No, not related. Although there was some theoretical...
There's some character crossover.
Yeah. Either way, the players that I was running this for, they were at a town near the end of the first half of the campaign, where they were getting grilled at a tavern. They came into the tavern, they were asking for service, and they were trying to get some information, and they were having the absolute worst customer service because the people didn't want them there, and the sheriff of the place came over to basically tell them, no, you are not welcome here. We don't care if you paid any money. You're not getting any service. And I had a lot of the town kind of encroaching around the tavern, witnessing everything. And one of the players got a bit too exuberant, and I know that they were just trying to scare the crowd away.
Mm-hmm.
You do not scare a crowd of commoners, which at most will have 6 to 8 hit points, with Ice Storm.
That's mass murder.
Yeah. So that went from a very tense situation to a very horrible situation. Ice Storm was only up for 1 round, and it slaughtered over 40 people. That wasn't where I was thinking, okay, this is where I could have inserted the game. No. The court case afterwards is where I could have.
Yeah, how would you have done that? What hybridization would you have introduced for that court?
I would have liked to have found some maybe just a simple court role-playing game that has some simple characters that I could set up a case, and they'd for 1 or 2 game sessions they'd play that while the sheriff, who was also the prosecutor, and they brought in a judge, tried to frame them for more than what was done. But I had to go through what Dungeons and Dragons had, and it was admittedly far more boring than I wanted. But I guess the boring was kind of a punishment for maybe don't use Ice Storm for scare people.
Crowd control.
For crowd control of commoners that you had no intention of killing.
Yeah. I threw a nuclear hand grenade to kill that ant.
I just wanted to scare them. Yeah, you use a flashbang, not a not a frag.
Yeah. So maybe that would be a good topic if we can do enough research. How to run. Anybody got any ideas on how to run, or show us a module on how to properly run a trial?
Is there like a Phoenix Wright TRPG?
I was thinking of that Japanese. There's a Japanese role-playing game that's you have to do. You have to do a trial. You have to be the lawyer. And it's a computer game, but I can't remember the name of
Phoenix Wright, attorney. That's Phoenix Wright. Yeah.
Oh,
Phoenix
okay.
Wright.
Yeah.
That is Phoenix Wright. Yes. Phoenix Wright. Ace Attorney.
Yes. Once you said Ace Attorney, I definitely recognized it.
Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. If there was a Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, I would absolutely put that into my game.
But I think there needs to be some kind of rules for presenting evidence. The judge is obviously going to be the DM.
Yeah. Actually, I had the judge be a lawful neutral, lawful evil NPC.
I need to see a module.
Oh no. Earthbound.dicebreakers.com game Justicar Phoenix Wright RPG inspired tabletop. Oh jeez.
It exists?
It exists. I'm gonna have to look that up now.
Yeah, because I think that eventually, I'm not even saying this. Well, I guarantee it won't be this year. But eventually, besides the holiday ones I want to do, I would love to do role-playing games and legal systems. Because one of the things that we've talked about so many other times,
Rules lawyers,
is rules lawyers, pun intended. But we talked about you don't want to have your morality in a game enforced by the stormtroopers. You want what's the word we call it? Behavioral what?
We do behavioral guidance instead of behavioral modification.
Exactly. Because guidance is not the same thing as brainwashing somebody.
Right. And you say that you don't want to use stormtroopers to enforce morality, but
you do have to use them sometimes to enforce the law.
I would. This is a bit more advanced, and sometimes something what I do is I will use the stormtroopers to enforce morality, but the meta context is, and the laws are bad in this area where you're dealing with corruption now.
Yeah.
It is, but I would have to be working with a group that I would trust to understand that just because they're in power doesn't mean they're correct.
I'm going to have to do some research because some games do have the laws of the land.
Yeah.
And they talk about how, what kind of things. So
I know that Waterdeep has that.
Waterdeep definitely has that. I'm going to have to reread a little bit just to see whether or not there's something about actually conducting a trial. I don't think there really is. Because I had to do a trial. One of my players did a mission where they had to kill somebody, and it's murder.
It is. Yeah.
And they got caught.
The little thing, a lot of what adventurers do could be seen as illegal.
Yeah, breaking an entry that's followed by burglary. You know what the difference between breaking an entry and burglary is?
What?
Burglary, you have to have an intent to commit a crime. So if you break into some place, you've committed the crime of breaking an entry. But if you do nothing else, that's all you've done.
Yeah.
If you commit a crime while in there, then you're guilty of burglary. And I saw on a television show where the person broke into a house, had sex, and took a shower. And the police officers said, one police officer says, well, we can't charge him with anything but breaking and entering. He says, no, we can charge him with burglary because they stole water.
Yeah.
And in California.
Heroes could never be war criminals. I don't know what you're talking.
Yes, they can.
There aren't enough quotations around heroes for that, Hearth. And they're only war criminals if you're actually at war.
So we need to do a episode where we talk about law enforcement and how to run a trial.
I'm absolutely going to be looking up the Phoenix Wright RPG when I get home.
We've got to do that.
I'm going to see if it can be possible do a 5e conversion to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you know what we can do?
What?
We can publish it.
Yeah, we can.
And we can send the money to RPG Research.
Yeah, we could. But,
the problem with me doing that kind of stuff?
What?
I'm lazy.
See, I have a slightly different issue where I have ADHD and depression.
Right?
I'm not lazy. I don't have meds. Yeah.
Another Christmas present.
No,
do not send him drugs.
Don't do that.
Do not send us drugs of any sort in the mail.
Yeah, that is not a hint, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. No, don't send us drugs.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
We don't want to film our own trial.
No, no.
I walk up to the judge's bench and roll some dice. What are you doing? Rolling for initiative, sir.
And just because I and John have obvious gray hairs doesn't mean that you know our age. Don't as
one of us is older than the other. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, but you cannot confirm that either of us are above the age of 21. So do not be sending us any alcohol. We're picky.
Oh, more than just picky. I have so much alcohol in my house, it's ridiculous.
We have not confirmed whether or not you're 21 or not.
No. But I can tell you this, that I have alcohol that's older than you are.
I believe it.
And
but I too have
I don't drink enough. I don't drink enough, which is why I have such a huge collection of alcohol.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so another thing that is often mentioned is you mentioned the difference between burglary and breaking and entering.
Yes.
If you threaten them, that's assault. If you then make contact, that's battery.
Right.
Yeah.
So there are games where the laws are spelled out for different cities.
Mm-hmm.
There is, I don't know if there's a Baldur's Gate rules laws, but there's definitely one for, we just talked about it, Waterdeep.
Yeah, Waterdeep.
There is the Pirate Code for Spelljammer.
You mean the pirate suggestion?
Well, the funny part is the first code of the this is the not a fight it's the Vampire Code.
The Vampire Code?
Yes, and the first rule is don't eat the crew.
Don't eat the crew. Okay. Oh, jeez. Although I would want to do some research on this subject, but I've come across some information that kind of suggests that the pirate code was a lot more progressive than people realize, because it allowed for example, same-sex marriage and life insurance.
Yeah, it's really weird too that when you, I don't know how true it is, but it's actually very possible, almost plausible,
Mm-hmm.
that our flag means death, which is the story of the gentleman pirate and Blackbeard.
Mm-hmm.
And in the television series, they're lovers.
Yeah.
But historically, it's possible they were lovers.
Possibly, yeah.
I mean, they did know each other, and they did travel with each other, and Blackbeard abandoned him on an island to die. Worst breakup ever.
See, you say that, and now I'm like, can I come up with a worse one?
Of course you can.
Yeah.
Bluebeard's Bride. A whole role-playing game about the worst breakup.
See, except I'm not familiar with Bluebeard.
Okay, simple.
You've got 5 minutes.
Oh, I can do it in less than 5 minutes. Bluebeard's Bride. The story is that he brings in a wife, and he loves her and gives her all kinds of great things, and says she has free reign of the entire house except for one room. And it turns out that in that one room is all the brides who couldn't listen to the first rule.
Why is that room bricked up? Don't ask about it.
You can go anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
Two doors, Henry's wives. Yeah, there are some definite. Henry VIII wasn't that much of a gentleman.
No, he wasn't. But I'm also thinking of, and this is more of a fantasy pirate. But Stardust had a drag queen pirate.
Sure.
Yeah.
Real world pirates had drag king pirates.
Yeah.
Women pretending to be men.
Yes.
Also women who would go, here's my breasts to look at. You shouldn't have been staring at those. I'm stabbing you in the face now with my sword.
Yeah.
Was Shakespeare married? Come on. All right. And
So, in 15 minutes when we come back, we have our trap
it'll be
riddles.
8 o'clock regardless of if it's 15 minutes or 16.
Yeah, at 8 Pacific Standard Time. We have traps and riddles, and then we have a unboxing that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. It may or may not be as cool as you think.
I'm always looking forward to unboxing stuff.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
I get to play with my knife. I get to play with the knife.
You do realize we're on Twitch.
Yeah, they don't. I get to play with it. It doesn't have to be on camera.
We are talking knives now, right?
Yes.
Okay. We'll see.
I don't have an OnlyFans. There is no RPG Research OnlyFans. If we did, it'd probably just be pictures of dice.
Yeah, Dice Goblins.
Yeah.
Dice Goblins only.
Dice Goblins. Actually, there is an OnlyFans that I know of where all they put is pictures of their hearse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We could do a one where we just show pages from the Book of Erotic Fantasy.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah.
All right. Now, enough babbling around here.
Babble.
We're going to go on break just a hair earlier, but we will be back at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
And we will do our traps and riddles. He's got to... I'm going to give him a scenario. He's got to figure out how to solve it, and he's got a 15-minute timeline. After that, we will do the unboxing, and see you at 8 p.m.
Yeah. See you at 8. Welcome back to the RPG Talk Show. My name is Daniel Ivey, and this is
John Welker, Vice President of RPG Research, 501c3 nonprofit organization that researches role-playing games. And we also utilize those role-playing games for educational, therapeutic, entertainment,
and leisure. Yes.
And personal pleasure.
That sounds weird.
Well, why do you think solo role-playing games exist?
You're making it weird, man.
All right. Yeah. I think I would just free talk out, with my host was the host and I was the co-host back then. I think, yeah, sometimes I can make Hawk go.
Make him turn him into a lobster for the day because he just goes flush red.
Yeah. You blush so bright we can turn off the lights and read by you.
It's a shame that I may pretend, but I'm darker than that. Anyway, Traps and Riddles.
Traps and Riddles. This is Challenge of Champions 3, meaning it's the third module of Challenge Champions.
Yeah.
And it's written by Jonathan M. Richards. Artwork was by Fred Rawls, and the cartographer was by Diesel.
Yeah.
Now, Dungeon Magazine May/June 2000 issue number 80. So this is 24 years ago. But somehow, 24 years ago, we were still on second edition.
Second edition had a really long run.
Well, we're looking at fourth edition and approximately a new edition every 10 years. And we're at 40 years. It's amazing that we're on 5.24 right now.
Yeah.
But this is number 80, volume 14, number 2. And this is scenario number 7.
Yeah.
The scenario's name is Evict. And as usual, he's given 4 characters. And he can only use the equipment provided by the judges of the contest. And we will go ahead and get started. Exiting the door from the 6th scenario, you turn a corner and see that the corridor continues for about 30 feet before becoming a pool of water. On the floor on the far side of the water is a 12-foot long wooden board with a small wooden chest. The floor then slopes upward, leveling off for a stretch before ending in a wall with a door. In front of the door is a sleeping humanoid figure. Waves of heat shimmer from the red-hot body, which is split and cracked as if made of hardened lava. You know, if I was going to actually be playing this with rolling the dice and everything, I would create that. I would do 3D. I would, miniatures and everything. The lava prevents anyone from proceeding any further, says Lydric, the guild priest in charge of the scenario. You will have to evict him if you want safe passage. To aid you, there's a wizard's ring of spell storing containing the spells Grease and the Chill Shield version of the Fire Shield spell. Lydric drops the ring into the wizard's hand. Inside the chest, you will find a loaf of bread, a chime of opening, and a chime of hunger. The chimes are marked to show you which is which. This scenario serves as the wizard's test. If you are successful, wizard, you will earn the wizard's key. You have 15 minutes. Begin.
I said Grease, Chill Shield of the Chill variety?
Yes, it's Fire Shield of the Chilled variety.
So that protects me against cold.
No, it protects you from heat.
Okay.
You have resistance to fire damage when you're using the chill version.
Okay. And there were how many chimes?
2. Hunger or opening.
Opening. I have some questions.
Yes?
Hunger. What does hunger do? Does it make someone hungry?
Everybody that can hear it will be extremely hungry. They must either eat immediately or attack the person who chimed it as a possible source of food.
Okay. And I also have a loaf.
The loaf of bread and the chimes are in the chest.
Okay, I have to get to the chest first.
Yep. And the guy is sleeping
Uh-huh.
at the top.
That is a, that gap is 10 feet
Yes.
of water?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is it just standard water?
10 foot wide, 10 feet long, and 10 feet deep. Just plain water.
Okay. So, we're going to move up,
Who's we? Everybody?
everyone.
Okay.
Actually, not everyone. Just the rogue. I know this is the wizard's test. The rogue is going to move up.
Okay. So, how's the rogue get across the water?
So, the rogue is first going to dip just the edge of his pinky into the water to see if it's safe.
It's wet.
Good. He is going to get onto his stomach and slide into the water and just wade over as stealthily as possible to the other side.
Okay.
Climb out ever so gently
Mm-hmm.
and make his way to the chest.
Okay, he is there. The chest is 1 foot by 1 foot by 2 foot. That slope, by the way, rises at a 40-foot angle from the floor. And
40-foot angle or 45?
40.
40. Okay.
And door beyond the sleeping lava method is made of metal.
Okay. He is then going to check to see if there's any traps on that chest because he doesn't expect it, but you don't get sloppy in your work.
All right, chest is unlocked and untrapped. Does he wish to open it?
He does open it.
Okay, inside you find 2 chimes made of metal, and they are labeled nicely for you. One that says opening, the other one says hunger. There is the loaf of bread in there.
Mm-hmm.
And the wizard, of course, back there still has his ring.
Yes.
Handed.
Okay. He is then going to take that board, which I can see is easily over 10 feet long.
Yes.
He's going to place that over the water.
Okay.
Bridging that. He's going to pick up the chest and with the, cross the, the water with the chest.
Okay.
And then pick up the board.
Okay. So you have the chest and the board with the rest, other side of the water. Everybody is nice and dry except for the rogue, and you have all the people and all the stuff on your side. Go ahead.
Right. Next, I have a question.
I have an
In
answer.
this version, is grease flammable?
No, in no version other than Baldur's Gate 3 has grease ever been flammable,
Just had to double check.
except for homebrews. Some people like me may occasionally say, "Yeah, why not?"
I've cooked horribly before. I know grease is flammable.
Yeah.
Okay, so with everything over, the wizard is going to put on the ring.
Okay.
Okay. And he is going to he is going to cast grease at the bottom 45, bottom of that ring.
Sure.
Okay. He's then going to place the loaf of bread right on the edge of, let's call it 5 feet back from the ledge of where the water is.
Okay.
Okay. He's then going to whisper to everyone in his party, I need you to cover your ears.
You want everybody to plug their ears. Okay.
Yes. Let's see here. Trying to figure out a way to even have him plug his ears. So,
And then hold the chimes with his pinkies?
you know what? I would say that the paladin and the mage are quite friendly. The paladin is going to go like this, and then plug the wizard's ears with his pinkies.
Paladin has big hands.
And that's why...
Like, let's put it this way.
Wait. Easy. They go ear to ear, and then plug and plug.
Okay.
Yes.
Sure.
And then, once everything is done, set up that way, he's going to ring the chime of hunger to try and wake up that flaming thing.
All right.
That poor tavern is Barthor's tavern, and Hearth's character was used to put out the fire.
Got it. So, good news and bad news.
Uh-huh.
You would get a saving throw,
Yeah.
and maybe you would overcome it, but it's not. It's one of those things where it's almost a guaranteed failure.
Uh-huh.
So, the method wakes up, runs down the thing, glides through the thing, lands in the water.
Uh-huh.
The water is now boiling hot,
Uh-huh.
but the method is now solid stone and at the bottom of the thing.
Uh-huh.
And your party is trying to eat the wizard. Unless they made their saving throw.
Well, they go after the bread.
See, what you needed to do was give them the bread.
Uh-huh.
Then they could eat it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the solution.
Okay.
The only thing that you missed out is you have to give the bread to the people so that they don't have an option.
Okay, I was trying to avoid it by having everyone not be able to even hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that would work, but we're going to call it a success. Because you got all the important elements. The plugging the ears may or may not have worked. We always say that the saving throws, all the dice rolls go in your favor. So we're going to say you did succeed. If you had left anything behind on the other side, he would have used that to stop his headlong rush.
Which is why I removed it.
Yeah. And without the grease, he would have just came at you and it would have been a war.
Yeah. Okay, so...
And the shield could have been used to protect you.
What shield? Oh, fire
shield.
Oh, fire shield, yes.
The cool thing to protect you from if he had gotten past or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because, in the original version, we would be doing die rolls and initiative and all that other stuff and finding out sometimes things don't work because the dice hate you.
Yeah. Now that we have the method, the method turns to stone. Has the water cool down?
It will eventually cool down, but
I don't have enough time.
You don't have enough time, so you just...
I'm going to use the plank to go over the boiling water, and the rogue is going to try and stabilize the plank for everyone else, and then go last.
Yep, and then you guys all get up there. You dispel the grease spell.
Yeah.
So that you can get up there, and you get to the door. It's unlocked, but if it had been locked, you just use the chime of opening and you go through.
Okay. So I got past the hard part, which was getting rid of the method.
Yeah.
Okay. I was actually trying to figure out a way that if I needed, if I couldn't dispel the grease, I was going to set up the plank to bypass the grease.
Well, the good news is you can change scene and send me a new code, please. I closed the wrong window.
Ah.
Okay, so we're going to set up for the next scene.
Yep.
Which, by scene, we mean we're going to do the unboxing. First thing we're going to do is rearrange some of the things. We find that when we do the unboxing, this beautiful screen here just gets in my way. And I look like, what do you call his name? Wilson.
Yep.
If Wilson was a dungeon master, he'd be hanging over a screen instead of a fence. So what did did you think of that one?
I thought it was interesting.
I agree. I like that one. It's one of those ones that you'll either get it right away or you won't. There's no in between on that one. If you don't get it immediately, you're never going to get it. You're never going to get it. Never going to get it. Do not copyright ban me for that, because you know that wasn't enough, and it definitely wasn't good enough to be constituted as singing. All right.
I'm giving him access to anything.
Yep, it will happen. I'm just talking in case our voices are still hearable or if our faces are still visible. Probably not, because I moved out of the way.
Okay.
Oh, my. This is different.
Let's take a look.
I'm not sure this is a one-shot. It might be a one-shot.
Okay.
Now make sure you're on camera if you can.
Well, we're in the unboxing screen.
Yeah, where they only see the.
They only see my wonderful. I made sure that my fingernails are nice and clean.
Yeah, you're a hand model.
Not very good one.
You're the best we've got.
So this is Arcane Academy, an RPG primer for aspiring witches and wizards.
Now, I did not sign up for that Academy thing.
You didn't?
No, so I'm a little curious.
Okay. So do you have any idea what's in this?
I do. But the thing that I'm curious about is that...
This is for Dungeon in a Box, yeah.
Yeah, it is Dungeon in a Box, and I thought this was going to be a full... Gosh, what is the word I'm looking for? I thought it was going to be a one-shot.
Oh, okay.
But Arcane Academy, if I understand correctly, is part of an entire series.
Okay.
So I'm going to look and see what it says here.
Let's take a look. Any side things? No. It is a very pretty box, though.
Yeah, it's a different box. Now, the campaign boxes had specific ones. You've seen the one I use downstairs for my pirate stuff, and it looks like a waterlogged chest.
And we've got a book in here, and this is very reminiscent of a particular popular wizarding, young adult children's
And it's
novel
supposed
series.
to be.
Yeah.
Wondrous One Shot includes rules and inspiration for creating your own magic school. Inside, you'll find rules for specialized wands, flying brooms, attending classes, and more, all compatible with 5e. In the Spellbreaker Heist Adventure, your party is a group of young Arcane Academy students struck at the Aether Crest campus over the winter moot break. With a mysterious letter compels the group to break curfew. They must sneak through the halls, search for clues, and confront the school intruders. Can your students using the knowledge they gained over the semester, or will they join many ghosts haunting the school? And here's an interesting thing about this.
Yeah.
Is that this is also I think part of an entire full campaign.
Okay. So we have some figures. We looks like we have right here a sentient or at least animated Christmas tree. For those who are
Is it a tree mimic?
it looks like
It's a shambling Christmas tree. I don't know.
I'm thinking if it's anything like the Whomping Willow, then it guarantees your season's meetings. We also have some animated snowmen, a bird folk statue, a suspicious-looking, maybe he's a teacher, but that looks like kind of like a generic Snape if I've ever seen one. Yeah. So those are always wonderful. We have some cards and some nice wax paper that it comes in. We have a broom. Looks like a couple of racing brooms. This one's a Thunderstrike. And we have the Sky Dancer. See, considering how much my significant other loves witches, I just like I wouldn't mind having all of these different types of brooms, because she's always interested in like, oh, can I get a flying broom? Can I get a flying broom? Can I get a flying broom? I just don't know if any of these would fit her aesthetic. She has a particular aesthetic that she likes, one that I'm not allowed to talk about here.
Yeah, so from the website,
This is
you have your Dungeon in a Box 5e monthly subscription, which is a 13-month.
Oh, this one looks interesting. Looks like a kind of like a hog.
Yeah.
The Harley Davidson of brooms. And now we're on to wands.
So this isn't a free this month. Get our biggest, most magical adventure ever, Arcane Academy.
Ooh.
Plus everything you need to run a 5e table role-playing game delivered to your door. And $36 per month, $81 value. Subscribe for the Dungeon in a Box 5e monthly academy. So basically, if you got the regular Dungeon in the Box,
You got this for free.
you got that free. But I'm in the one shots category, and I still got it for free.
Okay.
And it's supposed to have some neat stuff in it.
I'm seeing some neat stuff. I mean, just the artwork on these wands and brooms, I think it's worth it. Because I think that these look interesting to me.
So, do me a favor, read the back of one of these brooms or wands,
Okay.
because it's not just showing us the artwork.
I will after this one, because we have a Shadow Cat.
Okay.
This is House Herald's Shadow Cat. Small beast, unaligned, armor class 13, 26 hit points. It has a 40-foot speed with a climb of 30 feet. It's got stats for 5th edition. Perception and stealth, resistance to necrotic. Challenge rating, CR challenge rating of 1. Keen smell and shadow blend. Has Cloak and Shadows and Guardian of Shadows. So you have a dark kitty, and I appreciate that they made this thing unaligned, although if it's a cat, it should be chaotic neutral. Yeah.
I mean, all right. Yeah, chaotic. Well, unaligned is the official alignment for all animals.
Yeah, I know.
But some animals are more chaotically unaligned.
Yes. You've got an Acacia wand.
Okay, read the description of that.
This is rare and unpredictable. Effect: you have a +1 bonus to wand casting ability checks and 1 spell attack rolls. However, when you roll on the spell mishaps table, you must always roll an additional time and choose the worst mishap.
So, read one of the brooms.
We've got more wands.
I think you did all the brooms, and the rest are going to be wands.
There's also more creatures.
Yeah, the creatures are called heralds. I saw that.
There we go. Wind Whisperer, which is this one. A nice focus. There we go. This one, it is a wondrous item, broom, uncommon, requires attunement. The Wind Whisperer is a highly responsive broom allowing for hands-free control. While within 30 feet of the broom, the rider can control it telepathically, allowing them to use both hands freely for other tasks. Additionally, once per day, the rider can cast Gust of Wind while mounted on the Wind Whisperer. The spell functions as normal, and the rider maintains control of the broom throughout.
I also want to point out that this is not a wondrous. I mean, it's a wondrous one shot, but it's not part of the regular. Well, I guess it is. It's just.
This looks like something special.
It is. It's a setting, and Bijou Hippogriff.
Yeah, Bijou Hippogriff.
It's a canary.
It's small.
Yeah.
It's small. Yeah.
It's a bluebird, or something like that. All right, so let's take a look at some of the other items that's in the box.
I want to get through the spectral wolf, which is just the best boy.
Yeah, he's got a happy face.
Let's see if there's anything.
So there should be 4.
Yeah. And then
A Caldrius.
Caldrius.
What is a Caldrius?
Caldrius.
Is it a bird?
Small beast. Fly of 80, swim. Oh no, speed of 10 feet. So it kind of waddles around.
It's a white peacock.
I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Beak, has talons, and a healing peck.
That's always fun.
Okay. So let's put these
Even if
away.
I don't use this campaign, I might use those critters and the
the
wands and brooms.
I mean, this may be an interesting addition or enhancement to the Strixhaven campaign.
Oh yeah. Because in Strixhaven you didn't get any wands or brooms.
I haven't played Strixhaven, but
So what is the first thing you note about that thing you have in your hand?
oh, well, there's a map, but I'm more interested in the book because this is a thick book.
It's a hardback,
This is a hardback.
which is not something I ever got in.
Yeah.
We get these little scenarios, and I don't know whether or not we will get any additional scenarios for this Wizarding Academy stuff.
So I want to leave that for last because I'm interested in that. We've got a map, and I'm guessing this is the grounds. Yeah, there we go. You want to hold that?
Yeah. Okay.
Them's the grounds.
Move the box. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, what's that perspective called?
That's isometric.
Isometric, or
Yeah.
2.5.
Yeah, it's effectively 2.5 perspective. It's good for when you need depth, but you need to keep everything at scale. But that's kind of getting into me being an artist. Is there anything at the back?
Yeah.
Want to hold that?
More map.
More maps.
Oops.
We've got where the tree is. We've got at least 2 rooms here.
There's an ice skating rink.
Yeah. So possibly 3. 1, 2, 3, maybe 4.
I'm thinking no, the ice skating rink is in the same room.
Oh, okay.
So this is actually two rooms.
And then we have another set of maps.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
All right. What's this side? Oh, that's one big area or 2 areas.
Possibly 2 areas, one down here and one up here. This looks like it's a greenhouse area. And then some type of magical sport. If it was Harry Potter, it would probably be Quidditch, but this isn't Harry Potter, so I'm not going to use the word Quidditch.
Well, it looks like a Quidditch field with an extra goal holes.
No, it looks like it's missing one. Quidditch has 3.
3? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nerd!
And then on the back we have some more rooms. You've got a dining hall, a classroom, and a kitchen.
Awesome.
Okay. Now...
Well, yeah, kitchen, dining hall. Yeah, we got a dining hall up there. We got the kitchen and stuff down here. And over on the right, we have a classroom, but we have a library section.
Now,
or study room.
I'm not familiar with Strixhaven.
I played it.
Yeah. How does this compare to Strixhaven so far?
Well, it has the specialized brooms wands. The critters, they have those too in Strixhaven.
Yeah.
They have different ones. Mm-hmm. One is the personification of math. It's a fractal. Mm-hmm. It's a living fractal. There's another one that's an ink blot. There's one that is a bug critter, and one that's a living piece of statuary.
Mm-hmm. So, what? We have Arcane Academy, an RPG primer for aspiring witches and wizards. Welcome to Arcane Academy, an RPG primer for aspiring witches and wizards, a new rules supplement and campaign setting for integrating magical schools into tabletop play. This book provides a rich, immersive way to explore the arcane world of magical education, perfect for campaigns centered on young students who are just beginning their journey towards mastery of the mystic arts. An Arcane Academy is not like a traditional fantasy world, where magic might be common, but often distant. Here, magic is woven into the very fabric of student life, from wands sparkling in classrooms to broomsticks darting through the skies. Despite existing in the quote-unquote real world, these schools are hidden from the mundane eyes by powerful enchantments, making them sanctuaries for the magically gifted. Students are selected from across the continent, each receiving a personal invitation delivered by an enchanted messenger. They come from all walks of life, bound by their latent magical potential, and drawn to learn the secrets of wand magic, potion brewing, and arcane rites. So it very much sounds like Harry Potter with the serial numbers scrubbed off.
Yes. And it does seem to have one encounter in there. One story. Mm-hmm. What level is that?
I'm trying to find that out. I mean, I would assume that it's for first level characters. They have a house interview, performing the house ritual, the various houses. I kind of wish that they had a table of contents in here. But, you know, they have wonderful illustrations in there as well. Choosing a wand.
Yeah, this is our biggest and most magical adventure ever.
Yeah.
Plus everything you need to run an epic 5e tabletop role-playing game delivered to your door.
This looks really, really well made.
Well, one of the things about the regular Dungeon in a Box is that it's a full campaign, and it is a what do you call those games where like you put stickers on the board and it changes it forever? Pandemic. Not Legacy.
I don't know.
But So, like, you guys make a decision, and that means this sticker comes out, and that becomes part of the game as opposed to the other option that you could have gotten. Legacy. I'm sure it's Legacy.
Yeah, I'm not certain. I'm trying to see.
Legacy board games are done in seasons, and when you play a Legacy game, whether it's House on the Hill, Trail and House on the Hill Legacy, or Pandemic Legacy, it's a one-time through game. Because once you've played it through, you have made permanent changes to the game. Which is why the Pandemic Legacy games have multiple seasons, like 3 at least.
So I'm seeing not only just creatures, they have new spells in here.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a whole campaign.
Yeah.
They've
got NPCs, lots of tables.
Where's the adventure itself?
I mean, I've just kind of been like, bouncing back and forth in here.
Is there an index or a table of contents?
No, there isn't.
No table of contents.
No.
Okay.
So there, this is the front cover, and the first page, no table of contents.
Okay, last pages.
Right, and then it keeps on going. So there is no table of contents, and then the last page is still more information. So no index.
Okay, that would have helped.
That is a bit problematic.
You could have given us one more page.
Yeah.
2 more pages.
But let's see here. It's not a full-size book. It's only got 59 pages total.
Yeah.
And that's 59 on this back page. I feel like this wouldn't be that hard to get. Oh, here we go. Higher or lower level. If this adventure is being played by a party of players of higher or lower experience level, refer to the difficulty adjustment guide available at our website. Yeah.
Well, I didn't see that.
So I'm assuming this is first level? I'm trying to see where it says anything. But this...
Yeah, I didn't see in the download section, but I just finished downloading the download section, so let's see if it's got in the zip any the adventure book, maps, tokens, item and magic item cards. So let's check the adventure book. Level adjustment guide. Yeah, so you have to when you are getting this, you have digital versions of the Wondrous One Shots that you can access, and the adjustment guide is in the digital version of that.
Oh, okay.
And the Spellbreaker Heist, as written, is an adventure for 4 to 6 adventurers of 3rd level.
Ah, okay. Okay.
And they have adjustments to make it smaller for levels 1 to 2. And then, of course, they have some for levels 4 to 5. And there's levels 6 to 8. Levels 9 to 12. Levels 13 to 16. Levels 17 to 20. So this can be played at all levels.
Interesting. See, I feel like...
It should be played at low levels.
I feel like it should be... This is how I feel. Okay. These type of settings I feel work best if you start off at 1st level and by the time they graduate, they've hit 4th level at max.
Well, Strixhaven, I believe you get to 8th, but it's also 4 years of college.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a full campaign, and you spend 4 years in game.
Yeah. I feel each level should be a year.
Well, considering the fact that you can go from first to second level in a day.
It'd have a lot of downtime because you do have to spend time actually studying.
Well, and that's written into the book.
Yeah.
I don't know if studying or classes, how they're developed in here. My instinct is this would be a good add-on to Strixhaven to cover the spaces that this might be missing. Now, I'm not saying that it actually is missing anything because this is an unboxing. I haven't read it yet. Maybe we will do this as one of our playtest days.
Maybe.
We have others that we want to playtest. We'll have to choose. I don't want to do all because we can do one a month.
Yeah.
For years.
But here's my argument for even for Strixhaven, I wouldn't want it going past 4th level. So in D&D, there is this idea of tiers of play. And it is something that I have been really, really kind of harping on in my own design for adventures.
Now you're talking zones of influence, aren't you?
Yeah.
Whether or not you are, your own personal adventure, the village.
What are you affecting in the world?
Yeah. How much effect you have.
And if you're in school and you're considered students, it must be pretty amazing and, even in a fantasy world, impressive for students who are kind of located to their just world, to the school, to be affecting an entire nation.
Look at Harry Potter.
And that's one of the issues that I have with Harry Potter.
Harry Potter was not a 4th level character by the end of that game. By the end of the movie.
And that is one of
the book series.
That is one of the issues that I have with the Harry Potter series.
That he's too powerful?
That
the story is world.
Because it is centered around the school and then expands out to the world, it makes it feel like the school has that much influence over the world, and I think that's a bit unrealistic.
It's not the school that has that much influence. It's Harry Potter gets that much influence. And because he does have to go against things that are way higher than the level he should be at from just going to school and becoming an adult. He's doing adult stuff right away.
Yeah, I would argue he's doing above adult stuff. And I feel that kind of breaks the idea of, this is a school setting.
I don't know. I don't feel like it did. Because it's a young person brought into world-class events. Let's see here. The 8th level is how high Strixhaven goes.
Yeah.
So basically, you go up 2 levels a year of in-game play.
Yeah.
And I never felt like these guys were going up above and beyond. The idea that that's one of the other things. You've been in college for wizard school. Yeah. Let's assume that it's only a 4-year college. And Harry Potter, I'm not even sure it's a college.
It's
a prep school.
Yeah, it's a preparatory school based off of the English system, which is a bit weird.
I mean, is there a college above Hogwarts? I mean, and there's multiple schools.
I'm not about to ask J.K. Rowling about that.
I don't think J.K. would answer you.
No, I don't think she would. But no, I would like if there was an expansion of the Harry Potter concept where it's like, okay, yeah, you went to preparatory school to be a wizard. There's college now. But if there is quote unquote college, and Harry and a similar experienced character is dealing with a mass murderer, but there are wizard colleges and wizard professionals. That is a slew of negligent wizards.
Well, first of all, it wasn't the bad guy had it against him from the day he was born. Mm-hmm. So this is personal.
Yeah.
And I don't see that the wizards were being neglected. Yeah, it is equivalent of high school, but I think it's higher up in like it's a preparatory school, even though there's not a college thing at the end.
Yeah.
Because you are supposed to then go on to your careers. Mm-hmm. And is career training in the wizardry world OJT, on-job training, or is it you go to wand making school after that?
Right. But in Harry Potter, they have he starts studying to become effectively what I feel is like wizard FBI. That is what he's supposed to be doing at the after he graduates.
Yes, he does. Yeah, he's in the Ministry of Magic.
Yeah,
and he's basically wizard FBI. Yes,
but it's not a position he created.
No, the position was already there. He just got hired into that position.
If there is a terrorist in a country and it is targeting a student, then that is mass negligence of that entire department.
No. The fact that he's targeted is not mass negligence. The fact that the boy had to handle it himself is the negligence.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, they tried.
Yeah.
They tried. So it's a more incompetence. I think it's more incompetence than negligence.
Yeah.
So the Strixhaven is a college.
Yeah.
You are 8th level by the time you get out. And you can have non-wizards in this school, but everybody has to have some sort of magical stuff to be trained for.
Yeah.
So arcane knights, arcane tricksters.
If you're not playing something that has some type of magic, spellcasting in it.
Yeah, if you're playing a pure fighter with no magical spellcasting abilities at all, that's what's not going to fit in here.
You know what? I wouldn't play a fighter. I'd play a barbarian.
But if you play a barbarian,
I cast punch. Punch.
You'll be end up in the penitentiary for the rest of your life. And you will be punished as much as they can.
There's an entire anime of a guy who has no magical ability. He's just really, really physically able.
Yeah, he's cast iron.
Cast iron?
Yeah, big pan. Wham! Tico Wayland was the first D&D character to cast iron.
Tico Wayland?
Yeah.
Who's Tico Wayland?
Tico Wayland is from Dungeons and Dragons Dragonlance, and she started in an inn, but not as a patron. She was the cook, and her favorite weapon for the longest time was a cast iron pan. So she was the first D&D character to cast iron. And she was meant to be a PC because the Dragonlance modules you could play the characters from the book.
Okay. I mean, I feel like you can play a non-spellcaster. Just what are they good for? They're getting really good at dealing with spellcasters. The pun hurts.
I would when I ran this game, I did not allow that concept to make an anti-spellcaster because that is a conflict of interest. I'm not training people to kill me specifically. That's not how I roll.
So this is how I'd pitch this character. Okay. One, they're from a family that has a lot of spellcasters.
Okay. Right.
they haven't shown any magical acumen at all. Their family pushes them into the school anyway, because they think maybe being around it will start sparking it. And they're resentful of it, and yeah, they understand the concepts, they just can't, they can't.
Is this one of those, what's that German word for coming of age?
Bildungsromans?
Yeah, Bildungsromans. And
Honestly, any of these could be Bildungsromans concepts, coming of age stories.
yeah, the Strixhaven, the Magical Academy, they're all are Bildungsromans, but you can also have where you're coming to terms with who you actually are.
Yeah.
Is the player character resistant to the concept of doing magic?
No.
Or is he just not capable of it?
Just not capable.
Which is something I might allow in for the storytelling of people having to finally accept that this guy is a magical dud.
Yeah.
But he can cast iron.
See, and you said that, you would be against this.
No, I am against it in the general concept of somebody coming in to be an anti-mage.
Right. But
And I don't mean a non-magical person. I mean, I'm a wizard slayer. The no college is going... It's like a school for liberal arts who takes on training a terrorist. Intentionally training him as a terrorist.
you were talking to someone who went to...
I know you were in Florida.
And I went to an animation school.
Yeah.
And I personally got into an argument with someone who they were trying to convince me that the concept of me being creative was an affront to God. At that school.
What was he doing at that school?
Because it wasn't a he, I have no idea. None whatsoever.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Where did the Death Eaters go to school? They went to any of the academies, spellcasting academies, Broomstring, etc. But so they went all to the regular schools and then were recruited.
they were basically an underground gang. Yeah. But just because
No, Game of Thrones is not a Broomstring, and no, those are not coming of age stories. Well, some of the people were coming of age.
Yeah.
And some horror. Let's move on.
But I wanted to point out that that was an example of like you could play off type for what the campaign is and still find ways to actually incorporate it into the story. This is why we keep on saying story trumps rules.
Yes, definitely. And I like I said, I wouldn't accept a person who is coming in there to destroy magic.
Right.
They have to come in and at a non-magical person as opposed to an anti-magical person has to have a story-driven reason to be there. Who is the in Harry Potter? I think he's a janitor.
Yeah.
And he's there because his parents are magical, but he isn't.
Yeah. Coming of age doesn't usually show up by itself. It's usually blended into a deeper lesson.
Of course. Just turning 13 or just turning 18 and can make movies now isn't a coming of age story. It's the transition. It is the story of discovering who they are and what they are. It's not just I turned 16.
Right. A lot of times the coming of age stories isn't... Yeah, American Pie, 16 Candles are all coming of age stories, and coming of age isn't just like, oh, they're turning to a certain age. It's all the trials and tribulations that are associated with that transition in life, where you're no longer a child, you're dealing with the consequences of like, oh, you're not innocent anymore. That's actually one of the things that Sandlot was all about, where all of those children, by the end, they weren't really children anymore.
Yeah.
They understood, okay, this is what it means to, oh, you went to the the fair, and you did something illegal, and you got drunk, and you got sick, and you had to deal with the consequences. And
Stand by me.
right. It isn't a coming of age story isn't, oh, here's your 13th birthday.
This isn't your what's that word? Quinceanera?
Yeah. It isn't just like, yeah, Wonder Years, Boy Meets World, Girl Meets World, all of those are coming of age stories. It is the central premise of the coming of age stories is all, not just a single one, all the trials and tribulations of that life transition.
You know what the worst coming of age story is?
Which one?
The worst one is It by Stephen King. Worst coming of age story ever. Now, it's a good story, but as a coming of age story, it's the worst.
That's horrible.
I can't tell you why without spoiling the ending of the story. But if you've read it, you understand why I'm categorizing it as the worst. It's worse than Watership Down.
Yeah, Watership Down would be a coming of age story too. Don't go looking up these movies. Oh, that's almost as bad as say, like, it's a really great, coming of age story. Alien.
Yeah. That alien grew up so quickly.
Coming of age story, because they're on their kind of like their tribal rights.
Yeah.
Predator.
Yeah.
He fails at the end. And you say, I'm bad.
I don't know. I still think it's worse than both of those.
Oh, it is absolutely worse than all of those.
In fact, to give you an idea without giving away the plot or giving away the ending, the coming of age story is so bad that it's left out of all the movie interpretation. The actual ending is left out of both movie adaptations.
Yeah, you're forbidden from merging coming of age stories with H.P. Lovecraft.
Well,
it is absolutely an H.P. Lovecraft story.
it is. It is a Lovecraftian story blended with a coming of age, which is okay. But the final moment is just wrong.
Oh, that's horrendous. Let's see what we got in the comments. Oh no. All dogs go to heaven.
Coming of age? That's a dying.
Oh no. Oh no. Yeah. Oh.
I'm glad we only have a minute left before this story, this de-evolves. Yes, Full Metal Alchemist is a coming of age.
Yeah, Full Metal. So, all dogs go to heaven is a coming of age story. It's just a reverse one. If you're a child and you watch that movie and you find out what happened to that child, it is a coming of age story now.
But yeah, no, I agree. Full Metal Alchemist
It's a coming of age story.
is definitely a coming of age story.
Land Before Time.
Yeah, we have children growing up. Yeah, Land Before Time. That was easy. Coming of age. Coming of multiple ages.
Honestly, I feel like a lot of
Because you have the series and it keeps getting older.
Geez, why am I blanking on his name? Geez, he did He did it. He did Land Before Time.
Lincoln and Bats?
No. He also did Secret of the Nim.
Yeah.
And a lot of that artist's work are coming of age stories. Yeah, Don Bluth. Thank you. A lot of Don Bluth stuff is coming of age. Because Secret of the Nim is, yeah, older, but she's coming into the fact that she is a parent.
Oh, and don't forget, Judy Bloom.
Yeah?
Definitely a coming of age. Homeward Bound? Is that the one with the pets trying to get home? I don't think that's a coming of age story. That's an adventure story.
I could see them coming to terms with who they are on that journey. Kinda. I never watched, Red Boxcar Children, so I don't know. But
Boxcar Children's older than you.
I know. American Tail.
Yeah.
Is a coming of age story.
Oh, no, that definitely is.
Yeah, so as I said, a lot of Don Bluth stuff is coming of age stories.
Well, you know what I have to say right now?
What?
It's a good time to end the show.
Yeah.
And next week, what are we talking about?
I have no idea.
We're going to talk about words.
We're always using words.
Yeah.
I guess we will talk about what that actually means after we sign out.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
Or just right off the top of my head, what do we talk about literacy? And role-playing games.
So, for example, like say setting up a media media literacy, as opposed to me being able to pronounce and enunciate anything. Media literacy levels for the games that you're running and what to expect.
Well, that's one thing, but I was also thinking about teaching literacy.
Okay. Yeah.
I've got
we can tie all of that in.
Yeah, I got the lesson plans.
I know you do.
So, and it's relevant because my son's about to lose his adult learning.
I think we can, let's do that.
I think we have a plan for next week.
Okay.
We're going to talk literacy. Maybe you'll learn something.
Unless you're listening to us, in which case, like, where are these cats going?
Where are those cats?
We apologize, Hearth, for, again, suffering through trying to corral us into the cage that we're supposed to be in. The cage that we set up for ourselves. But no, we refuse to be bound. So, yeah. We will see you guys next week. Until then, have a good night.
And dream well.